Okay, video blog. I'm down here, and I wasn't to go into nightclubs before, but I got off on justice, which is incredibly important, justice and righteousness. It creates a rational market, and so it helps you understand volatility better. When a system applies justice and righteousness effectively, the market, you can understand the risk to each market. And so, again, it is critical for understanding risk. But people don't understand that legal aspect going into it, understanding risk based on country law is critical. But anyways, off of that, here's 1515 South Prairie, where I live with my ex Jennifer Kim, which I did love living in this building. It was awesome. But going into this, there is going to be a lot of projects going in the South Loop with the Bears Stadium and its potential renovation, and then the new development on Roosevelt by the Roosevelt Collection, which is Roosevelt and Clark, that development. So people here have to understand that they can also, when the equity goes up, they can do several different strategies to refinance, and they don't have to worry about credit score. So again, they can get a very good loan, but you have to change the loan structure, basically. So this is very important for people on the black communities and Hispanic communities, and that when you lower risk and you can increase equity in property, then the loan becomes safer. And even if you personally have a bad credit score, you shift it to the asset and you loan based on the asset, and no more loaning based on your personal. So again, it becomes the asset becomes the criteria, because you have bad credit but you have good asset, then the asset is what they rate the loan based on, not your individual credit. And so you can have very poor credit but still get a very good interest rate loan because of the loan to value ratio of the asset. And so that's what's going to happen around here if they do it right and get away from the crime model and get to the safe community model and do it. And this is what the city of Chicago is missing out on, refinancing their debt. Again, they need to get to the asset and the safety and infrastructure of the city, like its artwork and other things, being an immense asset. And this whole thing about crime is a bunch of bullshit, and you can bring down the lending of the city of Chicago, even if City Hall is doing it all wrong. If the neighborhoods implement crime watches, McGruff crime watches, My Hood, My Block, and that, and even if the people in these areas personally have damaged credit, if the area becomes very safe, crime-free, and this is how you talk to black and Hispanic communities, and I used to talk to them and communities here, even if it's safe, you can make it safer. And if you can make it safer, you can open up Grant Park, you can open up the Lake Shore at night. Me and Jen used to go jogging at 10, 11 o'clock at night on Lake Shore at night. Me and her, late night. How many people do you see jogging at 11 o'clock or midnight? But we did. And the reason that she did is because of me. Because once she understood how physically capable I was, her fear of going places As I told you before in the video, the first time we were together, she didn't know my physical capabilities. And we went for a walk at night in Skokie, and she got spooked by some guys. I'll just leave it there. And I'm thinking, you're with me, I could kick the shit out of both of them simultaneously. But once she understood my physical capabilities, that fear went away. And I could take her anywhere, truly, on the south side, anywhere, and she had no more fear. Why? Because she believed in my capabilities. As she said, she trusted no one more than me with her life. And she meant that in many ways. And so when we dated, we could go jogging late night down the lakefront and no problem. And we really didn't see many people. But she didn't worry about it. We go in Lincoln Park and walk along the zoo at late night, 11, midnight. She had no fear. And they don't understand this, but she understands this. And if you bring this to this community, it improves the value. If you can use things 24 hours a day and you are not governed by safety, that means people can work different shifts or on weekends can go out and just take a nice late night walk to, say they went out to the nightclub and they want to sober up, and they can go on, take a bottle of water with them, take a nice leisurely stroll in the park or along the lake. And, it's nice. Like in New York City, when I was with my friends, we get bagels at 3, 4 in the morning, and then we would go out to Central Park and watch the sunrise. Now, that was because, again, understanding physical capabilities. So we didn't really worry about the bad guys. So we went into the park and ate bagels, fresh off the bagels, nice hot bagels. We had this thing of cream cheese, and then we were out at the park and we watched the sunrise. It was beautiful. Now, we didn't go to the waterfront, but Central Park did. And this was the first time I was in New York. It was awesome. And I was there for a big University of Arizona reunion party. But they don't understand these hotels and that, and you trap the guests in the room, and they can't take an early morning jog. Do you know, when I was in Vegas, I used to go out for 4, 5 o'clock in the morning jogs in Vegas, where people were going home. I had the convention in the morning, and I would go out for a nice morning run in Vegas. It was great. And now it was weekday. It was a little bit quieter in the morning, but still you get people that were gambling and, walking along that were a little bit tipsy. But I had a beautiful morning run in Vegas, 4, 5 in the morning. Sometimes 4, sometimes 5. But it was awesome. Safety first. That's what these niggers don't know. They don't understand this. And I call them that because they're imbecile fucking pieces of shit like Jesse Jackson and all that they don't know financial literacy. They don't understand the benefits of it. And they think they're in a credit trap because of interest rate. Because of credit rating. If they improve their neighborhood, they're set free because the equity in the property will go up significantly, and they can get a different form of loan to lower it. And so, again, I understand being on a rock and a hard place, but if you do the right things, it frees you from the rock and the hard place. And if you teach people this, there is a premium on safety. And if you can do the right thing and the law is just and fair, then I don't understand people here They're just big idiots. And they sell out to the Satans and demonic people that think Michael should be terrorized everywhere he goes, and that should be the way of the state of Illinois. Well, there's a cost of terrorism. What do you think bin Laden wanted to do? He wanted to collapse the American market. How? Through terrorism. If he hit the towers, and that's why he picked the World Trade Center. The World Trade Center. The word trade, it hosted different markets inside the building. And he wanted the collapse of the stock market. Now, he had $250 million. Who was managing the money for bin Laden? Did they ever talk about that? Because he had $250 million and it was kept in institutions and people were actually managing the money for him. And who knows if he hedged? Because he could have made a lot of money off of hedging. So again, he wanted to collapse the world's financial markets. Now, the whole point was to give him more money for terrorism. So again, this is why we don't like OPEC. We don't like the bears. We like natural supply and demand. And that's why it's very important with collusion and other things that our markets truly are a barometer of what is going on. Because if we get away from that true barometer, then we lose what's truly going on and the market has no sediment value. You know, the University of Michigan sediment index? Well, the sediment index ain't worth shit if the market isn't true. If we start using people that fix the market. So again, the shit ain't worth shit. I was just doing a bunch of calculations and they ain't worth shit. You can't do those calculations when people can just vote on a price. When people can just vote on a price. Then all that going to grad school, all that sophisticated analysis ain't worth shit. Because they just create an artificial situation that truly doesn't exist. And they devalue education. They devalue anything. You could be a moron and be able to fix the price like OPEC, and you can front run on markets that don't fix prices. So you can do OPEC, and this has been my problem, which I said the regulators before. OPEC countries trading the market futures and that on Brent crude and everything, on West Texas crude, when they know they can fix their prices and then they can know how it affects the free market, and they can just buy hedges and they can make a fortune. So OPEC can do all kinds of illegal trading and fleece the markets. And so can the bears. So you can't have these things. It must work off of pure supply and demand. We must get rid of the fakers and pretenders. And I'm going to put something out on Tumblr and show how we must have more transparency than ever before. You are valued on your works. You are valued at exactly who the fuck you are. No fucking liars. True market valuation. True accountability. No more fluffers. No more bullshitters. The world is watching. And we're setting an example for the terrorists and everything else, market manipulators around the world. And terrorists are market manipulators. Go and read bin Laden's statements. He wanted to manipulate the world's markets. He wanted them to crash. He wanted everybody to lose their money. He wanted the 401ks and everything to go away, the pension funds to collapse. He wanted the financial markets to disappear. He wanted everybody to go back to the Stone Age. Truly. And that's what he was doing with it. And he said and told exactly why he did it. So all those pension funds, and you know there's a pension fund, as I found out, in Palestine. My friend Sam, his father has a Palestinian pension as a teacher. He gets pension payments. They invest in Palestine. They have a teacher's pension fund, and they invest in the market. And they pay out a pension. So even he understood it. He's Palestinian, he's Muslim. We used to have these conversations, and he understood it. Because his father lived off of his teacher's pension. So there's educators in Palestine. So when you do this market manipulation, it can't be. So we can't allow the pretenders to steal true value. Either you are what you say you are, or you aren't. So we can get true valuation. And that was my thing with Jennifer Kim. As I gave to her, I expected. And we were incredibly honest with each other. These people get into relationships and they break down because they lie to each other. They fluff and pretend on who they are and where they came from. See the movie Catch Me If You Can. It's all about a fluffer who fakes being a pilot and many other things. And he's destroying the market with check kiting. And that's what happens when you have the fakers. It destroys the market. And then no one knows who to trust and who not to trust. Truly, you don't know who to trust. Who's the truth and light? Who's not? How can I tell the scam artist from the non-scam artist? Now everybody's a scam artist because they lie. That's why the Bible says the truth will set you free. It's a bunch of bullshit. You can't tell, like, oh, are you from Ireland? Yeah, I'm doing a movie accent. What do you mean? That's honesty if you told me, but that's not it, and they fake an accent. I don't want to date somebody who lies about their accent. Peter from the Newsboys, he didn't carry his singing voice to his regular voice, and the pastor asked him, so you talk this way and you sing this way. He goes, yeah, man, so you can understand me. My Australian, the way I talk is not the way I sing. And he told them, I sing this way, I talk this way. And I do this so my lyrics are more clear, so you can understand my lyrics. You're English. I do a lot of songs into the American market. So I don't sing this way. But maybe when I'm in Australia, I would assume he uses Australian voice, maybe if it's good for singing. But the thing is, honesty. Yeah. How many of those in the black community? I just went to an organ recovery. How many of those gangbangers signed up on their driver's license to donate their organs? I've been since age 16. So again, how many of those gangbangers? But what do? I don't want to have to donate my organs. So what am I doing? I'm fixing it. The organ thing still goes when you give a partial liver and everything else. And that's where I talk about matching. The person giving the partial liver, they might be in Taiwan, giving to a person in Chinatown here in Chicago, or a person in Chinatown in Chicago giving to a person in Taiwan. That's why I said these matching has to go global. So maybe there's somebody who dies in Taiwan that you can get a kidney from or a heart from. You didn't kill them. Something happened in an accident. So I said, as things get safer, you go more global. And that's where I wanted all of these places to go, the organ recovery and that. Now we have high-speed jets, and I want supersonic soon. I want the Concorde to come back, especially for medical emergencies. So we can move things from one part of the country to another part of one part of the world to another part of the world in hours. And so we can save each other. An American in the United States who is Russian, say, could give to a Russian in Russia. So as things get safer, we go more global, and there's incidents happening around the world. So there's enough to fill these organizations on a global scale, but you have to do global matching. And that's where I went into the Human Genome Project, figuring out where these matches are, that these people naturally genetically match. And so opening up the scale. So a black person here could save a black person in Africa. A black person in Africa could save a black person here. So again, as things move in the righteous thing, I put this all out on Facebook. We move towards the righteous path, not the unrighteous path. And so again, doing the right thing. And so a Mexican here could save a Mexican in Mexico, and a Mexican in Mexico could save a Mexican here. So working with the Human Genome Project, we can figure out where these genetic matches are, and then overlapping it with the Red Cross, understanding where the different blood types are, matching the genes with the blood types, we can get very good understanding Pacific actions when there's an earthquake in India. And if anyone perishes, then we can do local matching, but we can do national matching. Indians here might give to Indians in India that had liver damage in an earthquake. So they can reach out to Indian communities here in Britain and so on, understanding the genetics and blood type, and there's a serious accident in the Ring of Fire, and we can bring organs to them. So again, it's about having each other's back and protecting each other. And eventually we need to move towards that kind of stuff. And again, we need to not move towards full-out wars anymore, but watching out for the bad guys, the cartels and the terrorists and other things. And countries need to understand we protect each other. That's the point of the United Nations. We're in it together. And so, again, we need to do these things. We need to understand these things. We need to move in the path of righteousness and justice globally. So if there's a newborn that dies after birth in China, they might be for somebody here that needs something. But it's a scratch your back. No one's trying to feed off of no one. We're just trying to maximize life. And sometimes you're a giver and sometimes you're a taker. And this is why St. Jude's and Shriners and Children's need to be international, so we can do these righteous things. And we need to move these things internationally. The International Red Cross. And they need to work with the Human Genome Project. And we can cross-reference and help protect the world. I'm going to end this video as I pull into the subway parking lot. But again, maybe I don't go Subway, or maybe I go Subway and a decaf coffee at Starbucks. But again, I'm going to put this out, this right now, on Tumblr before I go in.